Okay, we are live. Let's make sure that we're live here on the Facebook group and LinkedIn and YouTube, and then we'll go live here on IG. All right, here we go. Okay, let's go ahead and live on IG, checking connection. Boo. Okay. Pick my ear. I got some earwax in here. Better pick it before I go live. Oh, I'm live. There you go. All right. Hey, Alex, what's up, my man, brother? All right. So we're going live today for our, typically on Thursdays, we do a Q&A. So we're going to go live here on, my phone, which is all of our IG followers. We love you guys. We've got about 192,000, 191,000 of you out there on IG following us. What's up, everybody? What's up from Northern California? And then we're going to go live here on my desktop. Using StreamYard. I love StreamYard because we're going live inside our Facebook group, Sales Revolution. Got about 37,000 of you in there. Our Facebook business page, about 80-some thousand of you there. YouTube, just got verified on YouTube a couple weeks ago. Well done, YouTube. Got to figure out how to get verified on IG now. And we're going live on LinkedIn. I know, see, Facebook and YouTube, we get verified in 2 days. IG, they just don't like us. IG turns us down. We can't get verified on IG. But Facebook, we submit 2 days later, verified. YouTube, submit 2 days verified. IG, 4 times we get turned down. IG, what's going on, man? Blake, we need to get you a girlfriend over at Instagram so we can get IG verified. What's going on? All right. So this is a Q&A call. So on this, you guys can ask me questions, right? So I got about 40 minutes. I got 40 minutes that I'm going to answer any of your questions. Now, here's how you can help me answer your question. When you have a question, say, I sell this. So let me know what you sell and then ask me the question. I sell medical device. Here's my question. I'm a real estate agent. Here's my question. I sell insurance. Here's my question. I sell cars. Here's my question. I sell lead generation, here's my question. Or I sell marketing, here's my question. Whatever your industry is, we train every industry on planet Earth, according to Forbes at this point. It's pretty much know all your industries like the back of our hands, all right? Now, if you're brand new to our lives or our Facebook, or maybe just started following me on IG, my name's Jeremy Miner. I'm the chairman and founder of Seventh Level. We're an organization that trains salespeople exactly like you. So we train sales executives like you. We train sales professionals like you. We train coaches, consultants like you, contractors like you. We train business owners, entrepreneurs like you, and we train you how to really transform the way you and your team sell by learning specific skilled questions and techniques that work with human behavior rather than work against it. We call that NEPQ. It stands for Neuro Emotional Persuasion Questioning. Now, we have to teach you the right tonality, which triggers your prospects to want to open up, to want to engage, and actually, how do you get your prospects to pull you in rather than you trying to push them forward? Far more persuasive, all right? You want to acquire those type of skills like tens of thousands of our clients are acquiring on a daily basis, who are in the same exact industry you are in right now, watching me right here. I'm at my lake house. I'm traveling. I'm not at the office. I won't be back at the office for about a week. About a week. I'll be back. When do I get back? I think October 30th to the Scottsdale office. But I'm here at my lake house, but I wanted to go live. I came to my lake house a week and a half ago for some R&R, and I find myself still working like 8 hours a day. I didn't really get much R&R. I'm not sure what's going on, all right? But you want to acquire those type of skills. Let's say you want to start making your first 10 grand a month in commissions. You want to, and I'm dead serious when I say this, okay? I don't care if you're already doing good right now. You want to start making 15 grand every month with what you sell, or 20 grand a month every month with you sell, or 30 grand a month with what you sell, or 40 or 50,000 plus or more with what you sell now. Even if you're already doing decent, then message me directly right now. If you're on IG, message me directly right now. If you're here on my desktop, you're on Facebook groups, my Facebook, our Facebook business page, message me directly right now. If you're on LinkedIn, message me directly right now. If you're on YouTube, can't message me. They won't allow it. You can't message on YouTube, apparently. I just learned that a couple weeks ago. You got to post hashtag NEPQ. So post hashtag NEPQ if you're on YouTube, and we can reach out to you, see if we can help. All right. All right. Now, if you're on the live right now, I want you to go post hashtag live. And if you're on the replay, go post hashtag replay. And let's get to your questions. All right. Let's see. I'm going to start here in the Facebook group. Drew, I use your stuff in life insurance. You should. You make about 10 times more than the average insurance agent. We train thousands, tens of thousands in your industry, actually. Train a very huge company in insurance called Quility. All right. And they are crushing it. All right. Sales Panther here in Columbia, learning from the best. I like the product, but C-level isn't going for it. Okay, Aaron, I don't know what you sell. Okay, so you got to tell me what industry you're in, and then I can formulate, because I don't know what you're actually selling. Obviously, you're selling B2B if you're talking to C-level executives, but you got to let me know what you actually sell.
Here's
all
an
right?
Interesting one. I sell animal feed. How do I get the owners to upgrade the cheap feed to now premium?
Okay, I'll come back to that. I need to visually see it in my mind.
Okay.
Okay, Facebook user, I can't see who you are. It says, can you introduce yourself as if you're walking up to a group? Can you introduce yourself as if you're walking up to a group of people, attempt to sell them a product? You need to give me more context. I need to know what industry you're talking about. You want to use what's called a personalized introduction and not tell people what you do. Like if somebody says, what do you do for a living? And let's say if you sold real estate, if you're a real estate agent, and they said, what do you do for a living at a networking event? You said, oh, I'm a real estate agent. Well, what the hell does that mean to the person asking you? You know what it means? They just think, oh, real estate agent. I've got 5 friends who are real estate agents. I've known 10 other real estate agents. They just group you in the same profile of all the other real estate agents. There's nothing that stands out about you at all. Okay. Maybe you look cooler. I don't know. So you want to tell them how what you do helps other people. Okay. Not what you do, but how what you do helps other people. So you want to come up, it's personalized introduction. We have that in our virtual training courses. That's just a little section of it. You want to come up with 2 to 3 generic problems that any person that would talk to you would know about, and then how what you do solves those. And you've got to do that within about a paragraph. We teach you all that in our virtual training center. So you can message me directly on that. We can help you on that. All right, let's go to Aaron here. Aaron Silver, here's in our Facebook group. And I'm going to come to IG too. Don't worry. I know you guys are posting your questions. You're posting your questions. Get Nancy. All right. I sell background screening services, pre-employment purposes. I like the product. It would help me, but the C-level won't go for it because it's too much money. Okay, so who are you talking to? You're saying are you saying the C-level executive is saying that it's too much money? Or are you saying the person you're talking to is saying that the person above them says it's too much money? Aaron, give me a little bit more background. You're getting closer, brother. Apollo, where do we submit questions? Apollo, what do you mean? Where do you submit questions? If you have a question for here, you would just post it here. If you're one of our clients, okay, like our NEPQ 3.0 program, on Tuesdays, we have a Q&A session that I do only for those clients, okay, in that group. You would submit that to customer service, okay? Facebook user, I sell home improvements in the home. How do you get one-leg husband and wife to get their spouse involved when they're intentionally trying to stay out of it to excuse them not to buy? Okay, so whoever you are, it just says Facebook user. First of all, we train lots of people in your space, all right? People that make 30, 50, even 100,000 a month, every month in commissions in your space at this point, all right? So you have to ask yourself this question, what are you saying or not asking that's triggering them to want to get the spouse away? That's the problem, because in your industry, you're selling home improvements. They're typically they're booking an appointment for you to come to their home. So in your mind, how do you even know that their intention is to not have the spouse there so they can say, I want to think it over? Did they tell you that? Or is that something you're just assuming? I'm going to suggest it's probably something you're just assuming unless I have more context there, okay? They're like in your industry, most people are inbound. Like they're booking with your company, and the company is sending out a representative, you, to their home, okay? So it doesn't mean you can't still make a sale if the husband or wife are not there. I can assure you, in the 4 industries I was in my 17-year sales career, I made a bit over 33 million in commissions in those 17 years. 2 of them are B2C industries, 2 of them are B2B. I sold to massive amounts of one-leggers, like a husband or a wife, when I sold B2C, okay? It's all about building the gap, okay, from where they are compared to where they want to be. That comes from your questioning ability, your tonality ability, all right? But how do you get them to, see, I don't know what you sell as far as home improvement. I'm just going to make something up. Let's say that you sell kitchen cabinetry, or you sell just kitchen repair, okay, which is probably near and dear to the female counterpart for most females. They love kitchens. Not everybody, but a lot of females love kitchens. We could probably already agree with that. So I might say to the husband, well, I can go through all this now with you, but would it help your spouse? How often is your spouse in here cooking and like doing everything with the home? Oh, she's in here a lot. Would it help her if we brought her in here so I could ask her some questions about the cabinetry and like what she's possibly looking for, just to see if we can help? So you can ask certain questions that are more about helping, not saying I need the spouse in here so you guys can make a decision. How does that help them? They're just looking at you as like, oh, this person's just trying to get my spouse in here to sell me something. But if I'm saying, well, I could possibly go through all this without your wife, Mary. Typically, 99.9% of our clients, want the spouse to be in here because they have questions. That way they don't have to repeat everything back. Would it help you if we had your spouse, come in here from work and kind of discuss like what she might be looking for in the cabinets and what she might be using them for and kind of what backdrop she would possibly want, just to see if we could help? Would that help you and her better if we did that? Okay. And you flip the script on that. So I need to know more context to go further, but hopefully that helped you. Let's go here. How would you start a solar cold call? Or do you mean door to door? Jur Kiro? Are you talking about door to door? Or are you talking about just picking up the phone and calling a homeowner? We train thousands in solar, just so you know. We got lots of solar aid reps that work for companies that make anywhere in the low end 30 grand a month. Like that's the low end now at this point after our training. Most of them are making 50, 60, 70, $100,000 a month in commission. Some of the top players you've ever seen in the industry are trained in NEPQ, just so you're aware. But you most of them, I've never heard somebody like cold calling on the phone for solar. They're typically going door to door, or they have inbound or outbound leads. So I'm assuming you're talking about door to door, but let me know and I'll come back to you. Okay. Freddie from YouTube, and I'm going to come over to IG here. Don't worry. I sell rendering. Here's my rendering. What does he mean by rendering?
Like digital rendering?
Oh, digital rendering. Okay. I need and want help how to best filter the prospects on CRM so I call more possible prospects. Question is how. I don't know what he's meaning by that question. Maybe you could tell me, Blake. I sell rendering. Here's my question. I need and what help how to best filter the prospects on a CRM so I call them more possible. I don't know what your CRM looks like, Freddie.
Leads, yeah,
well, I don't know what a CRM looks like. It depends on the CRM. It's hard for me to answer without knowing what CRM he's talking about. Yeah, how can you tell which one is a better lead or not? I don't know how you could tell that. It's too generic a question. You're going to get more specific. Let's go over to IG here. Let's get some real good questions here. Oh, damn, we got about 150 questions here. Hey, I literally do my job watching your snip vids. RAAFEA. Well, there you go. You're welcome. You watch my videos all day long. There you go. Just wanted to drop in and call this man the GOAT Cast 4QL. Hey, you guys are being too nice. You're trying to butter me up. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to butter me up and then drop a question for me so I can answer for it. I know what you guys are up to. Thanks, Cass. That's pretty nice of you to say. I'm not that cool, though, but thanks for the compliment. Sam, hi. Okay, here's one. How are you so good looking? This is not really a good question. How are you so good looking is important for salespeople to work out. I would say it's important for you to work out. I actually think the more good looking you are, you have a disadvantage, actually. I'm not kidding when I say that, because a lot of salespeople, they have this like myth, like, oh, salespeople are like all dressed up and really good looking. I want to look more basic on my sales conversations because I want to like lower their guard. Okay. Like when I got my first job in college as I think I just barely turned 22, or it was like a couple weeks in my 21 before I turned 22. I tried to look very basic because the company said, oh, dress up, wear nice watches, wears nice, it's almost like a suit and tie type of thing going door to door. And I figured out after a couple of weeks that you triggered a lot of resistance if they thought you were a salesperson. Now, somebody knocking on your door with a suit and tie on is either an FBI agent, which you probably don't want to answer the door anyways. Maybe somebody from the IRS, you're scared of them too, or a salesperson. So that's not probably the go-to way. So I figured out like, okay, what do I wear that's far more basic? So I started wearing like khaki shorts, very basic. I started wearing like a very basic polo shirt, had the name of the company very small over here, right? I started wearing white New Balance shoes. You know, the grandpa shoes? I was like this 22-year-old kid wearing the grandpa white New Balance shoes. I put a tape measure on my side, okay, because I was selling alarm systems door to door in college, right, in the summers. And then I wore like glasses, like very cheap looking like glasses. And then I wore a construction vest, like one of the orange ones or the lime green ones. You know what I'm talking about? And I had like what do they call it? I'm losing my mind. I'm having a Biden moment. What is it called?
The level?
No. You know, the clipboards. Good Lord. Holy cow. I'm like 100 years old. So I had a clipboard with the survey, and they come to the house. I'd be looking up around, you know, kind of stuff like that, looking out in the yard. And I'd say, yeah, are you guys the homeowners here? And like, yeah, we're the homeowners. What's going on? See, that right there triggered curiosity. Okay. And it let their guard down, because when they what door-to-door salesperson wears a construction vest at the door, right? It doesn't make any sense, right? So they're curious, like, is this person reading my meter? Is this person a construction worker telling me to be careful? There's potholes in the driveway. Like what's going on? So it triggered curiosity, right? To let their guard down. And I sold a ton in that industry as well. All right, let's keep going. So as far as answering that question, you don't have to be good looking to sell. You have to know the right questions to ask at the right time with the right tone. And it doesn't matter if you're good, bad, or ugly. You can be ugly and outsell all the good looking people in the office 10 to 1. I can assure you of that. Now, as far as, is it good to go work out as a salesperson? Well, probably, because you want to have some energy. Now, do you need to be Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day? Probably not. But do you want to be halfway in shape? Probably going to give you more energy. Hopefully that answered your question on IG. Let's go to some more sales questions that you guys have. Okay, here's a good one. Blake, here's that one. I sell animal feed. How do I get the owners to upgrade the cheap feed they buy now to premium side? Okay, so PKD 90. What is the problem that you solve? The cheap feed is doing what to their animals? Is it causing the animals not to gain weight before they get butchered? Is it causing the animals to die before they get butchered? What is the cheap feed causing? What is the consequence of those animals eating the cheap feed? Do you know what that is? If you don't, you probably need to find out, because the more expensive food does what? What does the more expensive food do to the animals? Because remember, you're not selling feed. You're selling the results of what that feed does for the farmer or rancher, right? So if the premium food fattens up the livestock, I'm just throwing something out. I don't know what type of animals they have. I have no idea. But if it fattens up the livestock and they get fatter sooner, where they could go to this sounds mean, the butchering place, they make more money, right? So really you're selling them getting a faster result and more of an ROI. So what connecting questions do you ask them? What situation questions do you ask them to help them find out what their current and real situation is? And then what problem awareness questions are you asking to help them find out what their problems are? Because most of your prospects don't even know what their real problems are when you first start talking to them, right? Especially in your industry, okay? Or maybe they don't understand, maybe they know they have a problem, but they don't understand how bad the problem really is, or the consequences of what will happen if they don't do anything about solving the problem. So you have to learn those questions, because if you're not, that means you're not building a gap. You're just selling feed. And all they look at the feed like, oh, it's just more expensive. How would that help me? Well, you need to figure out what consequences they have if they keep their animals on the cheap feed. What are the problems they have from that cheap feed? And then how does your more premium feed solve those problems that maybe fatten up the livestock and get them to take them and be able to sell them much quicker for a much higher profit margin? That's what you're selling. All right. So I could do a whole training around that, but we'd be on here for hours. All right. Hopefully that answered your question. Let's go to another one here on IG, and then I'm going to come back to YouTube and the Facebook group and LinkedIn. All right. Jeremy, you're an awesome sales mentor. What are you reading right now? I'm reading a book. Let me show it to you. Hold on. So if you've been following me, I read 5 books a month. Now, let me specify what that means. I read 3 books a month, and then I listen to 2 books a month on audiobooks while I'm driving around in the car. Okay, that's my secret, all right? It's hard to read 5 full books a month. Can you read 3? About 45 minutes a day? Yeah, for sure, okay? 5's hard. So I listen to 2 while I'm driving around to work or I'm driving errands or whatever, right? So this is a book I'm reading right now by Mahan Khalsa and Randy Allage, forward by Stephen R. Covey, called Let's Get Real or Let's Not Play. I just started it a couple of days ago. It's kind of, I don't want to say basic right now, but it's just going over their theory and stuff right now. But that is what I'm reading right now. Make sure you want to pre-order our book that is available on Amazon for pre-order right now. Just type in my name. You'll find it, in Jerry Acuff. He's the co-author, one of my good friends, Jerry Acuff. He's the CEO of Delta Point. It's a very large sales consulting firm in Virginia. He mainly trains in the pharmaceutical industry, like Johnson & Johnson are his clients, and AstraZeneca and Merck and stuff. So we teamed up to write a book called The New Model of Selling to an Unsellable Generation. So it's available for pre-order on Amazon. It won't be on Amazon where you can actually get the book until I think mid-December. And then if you want to go into like a bookstore near you, like if you have Barnes & Noble or you're walking through the airports, it'll be available in airports pretty much everywhere, Barnes & Noble and all major book retailers, March 15th of 2023. But you can pre-order it right now on Amazon. That's going to be a good book, I can assure you. Now, realize this. I want to make sure everybody understands. A book is good. However, when you read a book, according to human behavior, you're going to retain about 3% of that book. Okay. You're not going to like go out and triple your sales from a book. Okay. Just so you know, you need to get involved in like virtual training courses and group coaching, group training by people who actually have the skill sets and the know-how to train you. So it sticks if you want massive results. Books don't do that for you. They give you like overviews. Okay. Just forewarning. All right. I studied a lot of that in college about how much you retain from books and literature and things like that. It's quite fascinating. All right. Let's go to another question here, and then I'm going to go up to the Facebook group. Do you think I can get a solar sales job, 100% commission instead of high school? Well, you can if you know how to sell, if you have the right skills. So here's the thing that you have to realize, because we have, I bet we have a few 300 or 400 clients that come in every month that aren't even in sales, let alone all the salespeople that come in. But the reason why they come in before they get a sales job is because they're smart. And they're like, I need to learn how to sell and acquire the skills. So when I get my job, I actually start selling day number 1, because here's what a few unsuccessful people will say. Well, I'm going to get a sales job and then I'm going to learn how to sell after I get my sales job. Well, if you last, because you're probably going to get fired before that, because you're not going to know what to do and you're not going to make any sales the first day, first week, first couple weeks. And what do you think your boss is going to think? Well, you're probably going to get chopped pretty quick. Okay. So it's just like if you're, when you go to medical school, you learn how to do all the surgeries before you get your job, right? Because nobody's going to hire you if you don't know what you're doing. So the same is true. So if a company knows that you're certified, especially in NEPQ right now, a lot of corporations are like, are you certified? What are you certified in? How much money have you spent on your own skill level so you can sell for our company and make money? Companies will ask you that. When we train companies how to interview salespeople, is one of the first questions they ask. How much money did you personally spend on learning advanced skills so you could sell more in the last 12 months? And if a guy or a gal says, look, I bought a book for $20 and the company brought in a trainer for 3 days, that person probably 90% of the time is never going to get hired. They're going to hire people who have actually invested in themselves, that show that they're serious about the sales profession. Okay. So you got to acquire those skills for sure. So you acquire those skills, manifest_right now. You can go out and make a lot of money in solar. We train thousands in solar. Lots of money's made if you have the right skills. The average solar salesman might make $5,000 a month. Okay. So that's because they don't have the right skills and they go through a lot of rejection because they trigger fight or flight mode. Right. All right. Let's keep going. Let's see here. I'm going to go to YouTube. Clark, how's it going, Uncle Jay? Am I that old? Am I old enough to be an uncle now? I think so. Yeah, once you hit 40, your uncle range. Had a quick question. Sell life insurance, train thousands in that. How far do I go down the sales structure before I transition towards the exit for a 2-call close? What would that look like? Yeah, if you're going to do 2-call close in your space, you're going to take them to, I'm assuming you're one of our clients. For that type of question, you must be, but you would go from connecting questions to situation questions to help them find out their current situation. to problem awareness questions to help them see that they have a problem. Okay. Because why would they show up to the next call if they don't even feel like they have a problem, right? There's no incentive for them to show up. They're not going to show up because you want them to. They know you're a salesperson. So after problem awareness questions, after you've allowed them to see what their real problems are, you would then transition into booking the second appointment. And in the second appointment, you're going to ask a few more situation and problem awareness just to get them back in their emotional state. And then you're going to go back into solution awareness questions, consequence questions, and then your presentation and then commitment questions to actually close that deal. If you do a 2-call close in your industry, okay? Most of our clients that go through our virtual training platform, they get so good in your industry that they now do 1-call closes, just so you know. Got a lot of insurance agents that make 30, 50, 100,000 in commissions every single month, baby. So Clark, if you're not one of our clients, just message me directly. We can give you some training options if you want to acquire the skills to make that amount of money with what you sell. Okay, where's Shelby, Father Iconic? She is not here. She is at school. Ryan, I'm in financial, thanks for asking though. I'm in financial services doing financial planning. Train a ton in that industry. What is the best way to open up a direct cold call to the decision maker? Well, it depends on who are you calling? Are you calling like B2C? Or are you calling companies? Because that would actually vary, okay? And where did you get the list? Usually financial services, they're not just calling people out of a phone book. Well, I don't think phone books exist now, but they're actually calling people like from a lead list that have opted in, or they might be a client in some part of their company already. Maybe they have some type of financial services with them already and they're calling to upsell them. So all that would depend. You need to give me a little bit more details, Ryan, and then hopefully I can answer that question for you. How would you start a solar cold call? Is it door to door or on the phone? You guys got to be more specific with me. All right, Jeff, selling mostly final expense insurance, train a ton in that industry and getting into Medicare Advantage. I'm completely redoing my presentation as I'm hearing too many. I'm going to think about it at the end of my presentation, working on finding more of their need and more emotional attachment to a policy. Any suggestions? Well, Seth, you have to learn NEPQ because you're not building enough gap. So anytime prospects say, I want to think it over, I don't make rash decisions, I need to do more research, I need to keep looking around, I need to talk to other companies, I need to get more quotes, is because you have triggered uncertainty in their mind, okay? And they trigger uncertainty in their mind because you don't know how to build a gap yet, okay? Consultative selling, traditional selling, you're not really going to build a gap because it's more surface level questions. And do human beings make decisions on emotion or logic? We all know it's emotion. Brain studies prove that. There's no debate in behavioral science at this point. So you have to build a gap from where they are now compared to where they want to be. Now, in your industry, it's not like people sit around thinking they're going to die tomorrow. Most human beings just don't think they're ever going to die. Then bam, we just die. It's just how we're built, right? We don't think about like, oh, I'm going to die tomorrow, because nobody knows when we're going to pass away and move on to the next life, right? I think God puts something across our veil so we don't know. So we have to live our life, okay? We have to have faith. So your prospects aren't just sitting around thinking about that. It's not like, well, what happens if you pass away? No, it's not if, it's when. It's not if, it's when you pass away, okay? So you have to build that emotional attachment for them to have a policy so their family members or friends or relatives are not financially responsible to having to go in and meet the funeral director, okay, get upsold by the funeral director, and then they don't have the money to pay for that, because that typically happens 8 out of 10 times, as you know from your industry. Train a lot of people in your industry, okay? So you have to build a gap, right? So you have to know how to ask situation questions, problem awareness questions. If I had, I don't have time to pull up a final expense scripts up, because we've written out those for tons of pretty big companies in your space and salespeople that crush it. But anytime you're getting those type of objections, it's because you're not building the gap big enough from where they are compared to where they think or where they feel they need to be. They can only build that gap in their mind by your questioning ability that actually allows them to go below the surface and actually open up. Because most salespeople in your industry, and for most industries, they just ask surface level questions about and they try to sell them like this 10 grand policy. Whereas the salespeople that we train in your space are usually selling like 20 grand policies or 25 grand final expense policies, because you're mainly selling to senior citizens for the most part, I'm assuming. All right. So on your, you only build the need by building the gap, but your presentation, typically when I've seen presentations in your space, it's more like just you're telling them like the benefits they're going to get, how much it's going to cost. Okay. So you want to tell them, you know how you mentioned that you had XYZ problem. You know how you mentioned that you want to leave something for your daughter, but right now, you've got all this credit card debt that she might be responsible for if you brought that out of them from your questionability. Okay. And one of the biggest problems that people have when they come to us, John, is the exact same thing. Okay. They want to have something there that's going to pay off that debt for their family when they leave. So the way we solve that for clients like you is and then you go over specifically how your policy or policies is going to solve that individual problem about leaving them more money so they can pay off debt, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And then at the end of that, you're going to talk about and what that means to you is. And what that means to you is when you do pass away, that means that your daughter doesn't have to go into the funeral home, where the funeral home director is going to try to upsell them with a more expensive coffin, a more expensive ceremony. And because she's all emotional, what do you think typically happens? Yeah, they end up spending twice as much as they thought. So what this policy will do is protect her so she doesn't have to go through all that trauma from the funeral home when she's all emotional and they take advantage of it. Do you see how that would possibly help her when you pass on? So that's just an example. There's a lot more to that. I don't have time to pull up all the scripting, but if you want to learn that, if you want to learn all of our scripts and everything, just message me directly, Jeff. And you can book with one of our team members to go through all the different training options for your industry as well. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, I sell pre-employment background, Aaron, screening services to human resources type. I sell employment background screening services. Okay, so what does your solution solve? It solves them not hiring people that maybe are convicted felons, or what is it? What does employment background screening services do? Don't they already have some type of services that they are going to know that if they're a felon or something? I'm not understanding what your service does different from anybody else. So I went through a sales cycle with a director who really liked the product, but on our last call, she said that after reviewing with, I think you said the CRO, it would be out of their budget and there's nothing she can do about it. Okay, but why didn't you have the next call with the CRO? That's the question. So here's what you have to understand, Aaron. According to Forbes, the average company in the United States of America, this is pretty much worldwide, has 6.7 decision makers and or influencers that influence a buying decision in any type of company sale. Just so you are, 6.7. You're talking to one of them. So if you're talking to one of them and you don't know how to navigate throughout the organization and how to get the first person you talk to want to tell you and navigate with all these other people to get them on Zoom or in person, this is what's going to happen to you almost every single time. They're going to go to them and they don't know what you know, and they try to pitch them and then they get shut down quickly. So at the end of that call, like, did you have a second call plan with them? Did you have a second call demo of how your system works or your software works? I'm not sure what you're selling there, the employment background screening, maybe some type of software that does that. I don't know. Okay. I need more details. Once again, sorry. But did you do a demo on the second call? Was it a third call proposal? So after that first call, you have to get other decision makers involved. So you say something, you don't want to say, who's besides you, who's the decision, who makes the decisions on something like this? Because most people are going to open up and say, Sally, can you walk me through your company's decision-making process when it comes to solving problems like this? Can you walk me through your company's decision-making process when it comes to solving problems like this? Walk me through is called an NEPQ lead-in phrase that gets them thinking a little bit deeper. Okay, so you want to use questions like that. If you want a lot more than that, because we train a lot of people in your space as well, employee benefits as well, plus what you do, message me directly. We have training that you can get involved in where we teach you how to navigate through entire companies, even enterprise companies, where you might have 10 to 15 decision makers and influencers and get them all on board. Because if you don't know how to do that, this will happen to you almost all the time. You have no control. You're hoping and praying that the first C-level executive you talk to is going to be good enough to sell everybody else. I mean, that's a hope and a prayer. That's taking the hopium drug. You don't want to take the hopium drug. You have no control. All right. Let's see. Let's go to IG for a second. What if the client asks for testimonials? You don't have any. Well, first of all, you need to get some damn testimonials. We have like 10,300 some testimonials, but prospects never even ask us for them. Do you know why? Because we're able to build a gap from where that salesperson or company is now compared to where they want to be. And we help them find out what they're saying or what they're not asking that's triggering their prospects to not buy from them, even though their product or service could solve their prospect's problem. So our prospects rarely ask us for testimonials. So you need to get better at selling because that's a downstream issue. So Apor, just so you know, anytime a prospect says, can you send me references? Can I talk with some of the people that are in your product or service? See, I don't know what you sell. It's because they have a lack of certainty in their brain and they don't trust what you're saying is true. That is our response. That's a downstream issue. Something you're saying or not asking is triggering them not to view you as like the trusted authority who's going to get them the results they want. That is a downstream issue. So if they ask you for a testimonial, you say, well, possibly I'd have to see. Let's say that I could, because obviously anybody I send over to you is obviously going to say magical things about us, right? How we were able to help them solve XYZ problem. What were you hoping to say to references if I did have somebody talk to you? Now, typically, when you ask that question, okay, they're going to tell you their concern. Well, I want to ask them how it works with this, or I'm not quite sure about this, and I want to know about that. And that's the real concern that you want to help them resolve, okay? I wouldn't tell them. If you do this, let me give you an example. If you're like, we don't have any testimonials, do you think they're going to buy from you? No. If you don't have any, you need to get some. Because if your product or service doesn't have any testimonials, that means it doesn't really solve their problems, right? So I'm not sure that's a really good thing to sell if you are not solving problems and don't have testimonials. That could be a lot of trouble. But if you're brand new, let's say you started yesterday, you don't want to say, I don't have testimonials. Just don't do that. But you don't need to say you do. Just say, well, possibly. Now, I'm assuming that you understand that any reference we give you is obviously going to say what about us? Yeah, that we did magical things, right? And we solved all their problems. So let's pretend that I, agreed to send somebody over to you and then I called them and they agreed to take their time out of their day to even talk to you. What would you want to ask them? What would you want to ask them? Well, I'd want to ask them about this. Okay. Well, let me ask you. And then now you go into like resolving their real concern, because sending me references is not an objection. They just have a concern or objection that they're hoping the reference will ease their mind about. So hopefully that answers your question on that. Get some testimonials, good sir. All right. I do online courses. What is a great opening question for them to open up? Well, do you have inbound leads or do you have outbound leads? Okay, if it's inbound leads, and I don't know what you mean by online courses. Online courses that do what? Is it like a affiliate program that teaches them how to become an affiliate and it's an inbound lead? Well, let me show you how to do that because I need more context around what you're asking. Okay, so you get on Zoom. Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, John, it looks like you booked on the calendar about possibly starting your own business where you could make more money, right? Let's say if you sold online courses that teach them how to make more money. I don't know what you sell. So that would be like an opening question for an inbound lead in that space. So hopefully that helped you. I just don't know what you sell. Miriam, new job in tech sales. Tech SaaS, trained thousands in SaaS, actually. Out of the 158 industries we train, SaaS is probably in the top 20. Did well in the first month, sales decreasing. How do you smash target, be top seller? Well, you got to learn the right skills. So it sounds like you got lucky in your first month and you just kind of winged it and got some good prospects and made some good sales. But now as there's a recession coming, companies are holding on to their money more tighter because they're unsure of the future. You're going to have a lot less laydown sales. That means what? You need to acquire more advanced sales skills. If you not want to just survive the coming recession, but you actually want to make a lot of money in the conversation. Because it's not like your prospects aren't going to have problems in a recession, right? They're going to have problems, right? They still got money. It's still there somewhere, just a priority where they're spending it. So how do you get them to view your product or service as a priority compared to where they are prioritizing that same money right now? Well, you probably want to learn in NEPQ if you want to acquire those skills, because we got tons of people in the industry that make 30 and 50 grand a month in commissions every single month as salespeople. Okay, let's keep going here. I work in sales recruitment. What's a great question to ask to help quickly assess a person's sales ability? Well, typically you can have them do a role play with you. Okay, so John, help me understand. Let's say they book on an inbound lead. Okay, what's a great question to ask? Oh, you're trying to recruit salespeople. Okay, so probably a good question for you is, so Daniel, walk me through like what type of let me think for your industry, because we train a lot of recruiting industries. What's a good question to ask to help quickly assess a person's sales ability? I wouldn't say sell me a pen, because I think that's kind of retarded. I would say probably what I'd ask. So walk me through, John. How much money have you invested in like advanced sales training over the last 12 months so you could learn more skills so you could sell more? That's probably one question I'd ask to find out. Because if they're like, oh, I bought one book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, which is not kind of about sales, not really. And it's written in 1936. Prospects are completely different, whole different age. The company brought in a trainer over the weekend. That's probably not somebody you want to hire. They're not really serious about their profession compared to the person's like, well, I spent $2,000 here. I went to a conference. I spent $5,000 here. I bought 12 books over the last year. I went through this course, that course. I'm certified in this. That's the person you want to hire because they're serious about learning more advanced skills so they can sell more. Definitely. All right, Josh, I sell kitchen remodels, cabinet. Oh, train a ton of people in that. Our leads come from a marketing company. We pay for when said customer does. Oh, wait a minute. Am I reading this? Our leads come from a marketing company. We pay for when said customer does. Oh, okay. I've only got a few more minutes. Our videographer's telling me I got a hard stop in a few minutes. All right. Because I usually go overboard. I just get crazy. All right.
Too nice.
Being too nice. Don't leave us out. All right. I'll come back around to IG. Okay. Our leads come from a marketing company. We pay for when said customer does an online search. Okay. What's a good question to ask to create urgency to buy now other than the cliche price will be going up or any question off? Josh, you got, good Lord. I love you, Josh. We have salespeople in your industry that make 50 to 100 grand a month in commissions. That a year ago, we're making 5 to 7 grand a month in commissions. You have to know how to build a gap. If you don't know how to build a gap from where they are, their current situation, some call it their current state, compared to where they want to be, we call that their objective state. And what's the gap in between? It's all these newfound problems that your questioning ability and your tonality ability has triggered in their mind that they now have that they didn't really think about before. If you don't know how to do that, because you haven't gone through our NEPQ virtual training courses yet, you're going to get a SHIT ton of objections, okay? Because saying at the end, like, well, the price is going to be going up next week. How many of your prospects actually believe you? I would say very few, because I hear that all the time from salespeople selling anything. Let's just be realistic, right? You heard it too. So what's a good question to ask to create urgency? Well, it's not one question. It's everything from your connecting questions. How do you connect where you take the focus off you and put it on them? It's not asking them how their day's going because they know you're generally not interested, right? Every salesperson asks that salesy question in the beginning. How are you finding out what their current situation is? Why are they even looking to change the cabinetry? Like, what's behind that? Like, why is the spouse looking to have the cabinetry put in? Why not just keep the old cabinetry? Do you even know? Or are you just going off what they told you, like a surface level thing that they tell you? Because you have to, it's not just why they're looking for a remodel replacement, it's what's behind that. If you don't know how to do that, because your questioning's off, your tonality's off, because they stay surface level on your questions and they don't open up, then you're going to get a ton of objections like that. Okay, it's not just one question, but a consequence question that we would teach you, along with everything else before that. But what is their main problem? Let's say that their main problem is the wife doesn't like the cabinetry, and she doesn't she doesn't feel like she wants to invite her friends over for get-togethers. Let's just say that, because that sometimes is a big reason why people want the kitchen remote. Okay, but Cindy, what happens if you guys just keep the old cabinets in? Well, okay, but what happens if you don't do anything about this and you just keep these cabinets in? Like, how are you going to be able to have your friends over at that point if that's what their concern was? Okay, or let's say that they want to increase the value of the home by selling it for more and they need a remodel. Okay, but John, what happens if you guys don't do anything about this and you keep the older cabinets in, and when you go to sell it, you don't even get the price that you list it for? That's a consequence question, NEPQ consequence question. Josh, message me directly on Facebook. We can give you different training options for your industry. I mean, quite literally, train thousands in your space that make 30 grand a month and higher every single freaking month. Okay, it's easy once you learn the right skills. Okay, let's see here. What other questions do I have? How to quickly determine a person who's not financially qualified. Some people can fool you. Well, it just depends. I need to know what you sell. If you tell me what you sell, then I can help you, because it would be qualifying questions. I mean, I'll just give you a random example. Let's say that you sell real estate training to people who have real estate, but they don't know how to scale their real estate company. I'm just throwing something out. I just worked on a script for a big client on that. So let's say they get on there and they say, well, is this going to cost me very much money? I don't have very much money. That would be a red flag, right? Well, and let's say your product that you a consulting gig you train them is 15 grand. I don't know. I'm just making something up. Well, Johnny, I'm assuming you understand when you're wanting like advanced knowledge so you can really scale your real estate portfolio, that it's going to require capital or credit to put into that so you can gain that knowledge for you to be able to scale. I mean, with your situation, what type of funding do you have to put into your real estate business so you can actually get up to 10 properties a month? See how I'm tying in what they said they wanted. Let's say they're only being able to buy like one property every 3 months, but they want to acquire the right skills to be able to buy 10 properties every 3 months. Or I'm just making something up. They have to learn how to, sub-to and, creative financing techniques that they just don't have the knowledge of. And that's why it's holding them back. So I'm tying them getting the money to the end result they said they wanted. If they can get the money, they get what they want. If they can't get the money, they don't get what they want. And that's hard for people once they've emotionally attached to that. Well, see, that's how you qualify somebody. I'm assuming you understand when you blah, 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 that it's going to require capital or credit. Now, it depends on what you sell. If you're selling insurance, you're not going to say capital or credit. You're going to say funds. It's just a little bit different. Hopefully that helps. All right. Let's see here. There's so many good questions here. I feel bad that I'm not getting to all these. I sell positive psychological interventions. Positive psychological interventions. I don't know what you mean by that. Courses. Sounds cool. We have a day rate of about 7 to 8 grand for the courses per person. How to tackle not the right time. Well, when are they saying it's not the right time? Like right when you call them, or like towards the end? Because what is the problem that you solve? If I knew RAAFEA, the problem you solved and how your solution solves that, I could easily answer that question. Because I don't know that, I don't want to give you an answer that's not helpful. So ask me that again, and hopefully the next time I go live next week on here, I can answer that question for you. Okay. So many good questions here. Okay, I sell B2C. Here's another question. I sell B2C IRS tax settlement services. Okay, so what problem are you solving? Well, you're solving a massive problem. Let's say that person has $100,000 in IRS tax debt, and you're able to wipe half of it out for them. That's a big solution that you solve. But your clients are not buying because you said your cost is too high. How do I get them to see the value of our service? Well, is the cost too high? Well, Sally, that just tells me you don't know how to build a gap yet. You don't know how to get them to understand what their real situation is and where they want to be, their objective state. What's the gap? All these newfound problems that them being tied up with so much debt is preventing them from being able to do in their life. What is that IRS preventing them to do? Probably buy a home, probably buy a vehicle, buy anything on their credit because of that IRS debt. How is that affecting them? Have you even asked? You probably need to learn those questions. You have to learn those questions for sure. Because John, you tell me, your prices are, well, how do you mean it's too high? Well, it's blah, blah, blah. Well, John, you tell me, which is more expensive? Is it more expensive for you to keep paying these big IRS, these tax payments with all the interest over the next 22 years? Or is it more expensive for you to get the fund? Actually, I'd say this. Well, you tell me, John, which is more expensive? Is it more expensive for you to get the funding for us to come in and negotiate and we eliminate 60% of that debt and you're out of debt in 1 year? Or is it more expensive for you to do nothing at all? The problem stays the same. The interest keeps going up and it takes you 23 years to pay it off. Which is more expensive? That'd be a good question for your industry. But once again, that's a downstream issue that you're triggering that in their mind because they don't see that there's a gap there. So message me directly on IG. We have training programs for your industry if you want to make a lot more money than you are right now, I can assure you. Okay, I hope that helped everybody. I've got to go pick up my son here at football practice. Anyways, love you guys. Coming live from the Lake of the Ozarks. I will be traveling next week in Boise, Idaho. I have an event. I'll try to go live there. If I can't go live next week, I will have someone in the company, either my CEO, Matt Ryder, to go live for a Q&A and some training next week, or our Chief Revenue Officer, Marco Cortese, or several of our sales trainers. But we will go live inside the Facebook group. I don't know if we'll go live on IG because I'm going to have my phone with me. So I'll try to go live on IG. But if you want to hear the lives next week while I'm gone, you can join our free Facebook group. So go to salesrevolution.pro. I'm going to have Val or Felicia drop that link in there, salesrevolution.pro. So go to salesrevolution.pro. Let me see here. Sales Revolution. Can I spell today? salesrevolution.pro, and you can join the free Facebook group where we'll be going live next week. We go live in there 3 to 4 times a week in different Q&As, different trainings. If you're on YouTube, you'll want to join there, salesrevolution.pro. So go to salesrevolution.pro. Man, I'm typing everything. Where's my team at today? Doing all the work today. Okay, I gotta go. All right, salesrevolution.pro. Love you guys. You guys want to acquire those skills because I just gave you a little nibble today on these Q&As and stuff. So just message me directly, and I'll see you guys next week. Love you guys. See you soon. See you guys. Sales